ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode here at Cocktails and Crimes.
Mm.
Oh, tonight's going to be a good one. My wonderful co host over here, Patricia, still sitting
Yay.
in for
And
our dear
or
sweet
and yeah.
Elaine.
Yep.
Or Anne, sorry. I call you
Either way. Yeah.
She is on Unexplained Realms and Lost Common Sense. Y'all should go check her out. Um,
Mhm.
So, as you know, we start every show with a cocktail, and tonight is no different. However, I pulled out the big guns for this one. I feel like we needed them. So, our cocktail of the night is going to be a sweet tea bourbon cocktail. It's actually one of my favorites. I make it by the gallon, and then I just put it in the fridge. And they say good for a week. That's the best part. All you're going to need for this is a really good mixing bourbon. I use a sour mash whiskey.
My favorite.
So whatever bourbon you choose, um, you're gonna need a simple like a honey simple syrup. I make mine. Um, I use 1 cup of water and 2 tablespoons of raw honey. You can use whatever honey you have on hand, and then I use aromatic bitters, which any respectable cocktail totally has a balance of bitter and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then fresh mint, and you just drop 2 or 3 large mint leaves in the bottom of your cocktail tin. You muddle them to kind of get the oils out. Add your ice cubes with all your ingredients, and during the shaking process, it's gonna like break down those mint leaves and give you a hint of flavor. Um, I'm using a black tea because I love it. It's super rich and it kind of brings out the taste of the bourbon, and lemon
Mm-hmm.
slices. But if you don't want to make it by the gallon, your recipe for this is going to be all you need is your cup, your shaker, ice cubes, a half ounce of honey simple syrup, 1.5 ounces of bourbon whiskey, 2 dashes of bitters, 3.5 ounces of tea, whichever tea you choose, sweet tea, black tea, lemon slices, and fresh mint for your garnish. Um, you're just gonna drop 2 or 3 mint leaves in the bottom of your cocktail shaker. You're gonna muddle the mint leaves to get the oils out. Add your ice cubes and add your honey simple syrup, your bourbon whiskey, your bitters, and your tea. Shake, strain, garnish, and enjoy.
And
Um,
as I said before the show, I would be so drunk if I made it by the gallon.
I have my
Every five
gallons over
minutes
here beside
pouring
me.
some more. Like
I have my gallon beside me because I love
yeah.
them. I mean, they're super refreshing. So,
I'd be
like I
wasted,
said,
drunk,
they're
on the
boozy,
ground.
they're yummy, they're refreshing, they're super easy, and they're like the perfect summer cocktail with that bitter and that sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it tastes like summer in a cup.
That's fun.
However,
Kind of
now
like the perfect barbecue kind of, drink. Sitting
true,
around, I bet it would
true.
go really well with some barbecue.
Yes, I will concur.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
a whiskey girl though, so
if you want to sit back and pick your poison, now sit back. Let's get to the crimes part of the show because we surely have the cocktails covered.
yes.
And I'm going to preface this one just like the last ones with a trigger warning. Um, we're going to include all kinds of things because, once again, this is going to be part 3 of Summer Wells. We're going to be talking about Mommy Dearest,
Oh,
Candus
we have some comments.
Bly Wells. I
Thank
love you.
you.
He's so sweet.
We got another
Um,
one.
Mandy, yes, yes.
Love some
I
black
love
tea.
black tea. I do, and I love it. It's like such a good mixer with my whiskeys. Um,
I think the bitterness of the black tea does something for the whiskey.
it does. It just
Yeah.
brings it
Yeah.
together. I'm not even gonna lie. Um,
Anyway.
so we're gonna be talking about Mommy Dearest, Candace Bly Wells. We talked about Don Wells in the last one, and what a piece of shit that guy is. Let me preface this by saying again, we're not nice over here. I'll call you what you are. So
Yes, you will.
if you're sensitive, I'm probably not the person for you because I'm going to call it exactly how it is. And these people are just fucking dumpster fires. Okay.
Yep.
However, with that being said, um, we're going to jump right into it. So, Candace Bly Wells was born on May 3rd, 1982, in Texas. Her current address is listed as 110 Ben Hill Road in Rogersville, Tennessee, in the Beech Creek community. She is the mother of 5-year-old Summer Wells, who is missing from their home since July 5th of 2021. It is still an active Amber Alert. Summer is still missing. Now, Don Wells, the dad, is actually the prime suspect, but Candace is a suspect as well. So, getting into this, remember, like, even though we're talking about the family and this, that, and the other, we're still talking about, look at,
Mm,
she just looks
I
like
know.
people
So
are
I think though that we might, because like there's a lot of confusion people that I know were watching the show and they were asking, okay, is she Candace Wells? Is she Candace Bly? So let's talk about that because obviously this is a news station and they're referring to her as Bly. So
Yeah, so I tried to figure that out because once again, her actual name is Candace Bly Wells. She was born Candace Bly, and then she was married to another guy, and then she got with Don Wells, and she's Candace Wells. I don't know. Like some news articles will say Candace Wells, some will say Candace Bly. I don't know. Like maybe she doesn't remember what her name is because of all the drugs at this
possibly,
point. Like, I don't even know.
possibly.
Um, but now remember, Don and Candace have been um, completely uncooperative. They're stonewalling in the investigation with their missing child. I mean, they've just been like uncooperative
There
with
you
all
go.
the authorities.
The
Yeah,
couple
there's
of
mom
them
and
right
dad of the
there.
fucking year.
And
Um,
yeah, look at the he's even wearing a shirt of her, and I mean, then if
they
you're
just
so
fucking disgust
concerned,
me.
why don't you cooperate with authorities? How about
Yeah,
that?
no. And the
You know?
sheriff, the lead detective, and a couple of people from the sheriff's department and TBI have all given interviews and said they are not cooperating at all. So
Nope.
remember that while we talk about this, everything that we say, actually, we come with receipts on the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, just like every other show. However, remember we are talking about a missing child, a baby. Okay, and it's one of the reasons why I'm super passionate, and these people just piss me off.
Mhm.
um, so Candace, we talked about daddy and his issues, but let's talk about mama and her fucking issues. Okay, so
Mhm.
Candace was 19 when she left home and went to work for the carnival, and she became a carny. She probably would have made more as a sideshow exhibit of like the world's slowest woman, but hey, I digress. Whatever.
All right.
But she ended up at 19 marrying a 41-year-old man named Andrew Simon, and had 2 children with him. Andrew, now these are her children's name, Andrew and Candace. All right. The kids' names are Andrew and Candace. So you have grandma, whose name is Candace. Now you have Candace Wells. And then she had a daughter with this Andrew Simon guy, and she named her Candace. Like, I don't think they know how to spell anything else. So
But
they're just like, we'll run with it.
I don't know. It almost feels like a touch of narcissism now. I
Well, you know
mean,
what I thought about
so
this?
she
And
married I have to get it clear. Maybe other people do too. She married a man named Andrew
yes,
and she named her child Andrew.
yes,
And then she had another child, a daughter, and named it after herself.
yes.
I don't
Now,
know. It's sounding a little narcissistic in a
a
way.
little bit, right?
Like,
Not only that, though, not only that, I got to thinking, I was like, you know what, though? I do know for a fact that there are shitty parents out there who will put
mm,
like bills in their kids' names.
oh
And
yeah,
if you have
I've
this, if
seen
you
that.
share the same name, I mean, I'm pretty sure
Possibly.
that these people have a list of fucking phone bills and power bills in all
That's a
their
good
kids' names.
possibility. I never thought about that. And then wasn't there a boxer that did that? All of his kids had the same name. What the heck was his name? Was it George
Yeah.
Foreman?
um,
Was it
I
Foreman?
don't
I don't remember. One of
remember.
those guys, and it was like, one, two, three, four. It just went
It
on
just
like,
kept going. But
yeah.
like, so she has Andrew and Candace. Okay, so she didn't neither nor her nor Andrew maintain custody of either one of these children. Right, her
Mm,
daughter, who we'll call Candace number 3.
okay.
Okay, was
Right.
taken as an infant right after birth and adopted at 6 months old by a family member, and then ended up in foster care at the age of 12. And she actually clarifies, we have some receipts here, that her bio mom was a meth head and abused her and her brother. She actually ran away from foster care 2 times before aging out. Now, Candace Bly lost custody of both of her children from her first marriage for neglect and abuse. Drugs
Mm.
were obviously an issue in this marriage. There's really not a ton of information on the kids except for Candace 3 actually made a post, and there were some messages back and
So
forth
I'm gonna
in
I'm gonna put
correspondence.
that one of those messages up already. This way we have some. So this is the child that
Yes.
her first daughter, she
So
named after
this is
herself.
her saying, who she is, and she was adopted. Um, Same bio father, meth head mom, abused his babies, has a record. Not sure where she was. She has quite a record in Wisconsin. We're going to talk about that. This girl, Candace Three's, never met any of her siblings because, well, seems like
Mm,
mommy dearest isn't really exactly mom of the year. And
mm.
so with the first 2 kids, with Candace 3 and Andrew, the courts actually were like, look, yes. So this is her originally coming out and saying that Candace is her bio mom and her
Candace
grandis.
Herrera is the grandmother, and we
Um,
over here refer to grandmother as grandis because
grandis,
that's
because
just the
there's
best way to keep it all together.
just so much going on
I
here.
know, right?
Um,
So Summer
but
would be her half sister. Okay.
she's obviously never met any of these siblings. She doesn't know any of them, and that's literally all Candace 3 really had to say. But in the documents that I ended up obtaining, by ways of like just emailing and doing these public record
Mm,
requests, and if you guys know anything, I go down some rabbit holes for y'all.
yes, she does. Oh my gosh,
I
crazy
deep
stuff.
dive in some shit to get, like, I have done everything in my power to get some of these records. But apparently the judge was like, you sign these right, like sign your kids away, or you're gonna face these charges. Um, and they're gonna be put in the foster system. You can either give them to your family or you're going to go to prison and your kids are going to the foster care. So she just signs them away. Like, here you go, whatever, gets rid of her kids. So Andrew, the son, is literally beaten so badly that he sustained brain damage. Now,
Oh my
Candace,
god.
the mom, claims that it was at the hands of Andrew Simon, the dad, and not her. But then later on goes to try to protect the husband who allegedly beat her child half to death. Um,
Mm. Yeah,
and so,
no.
yeah, and she has multiple arrests during her time with Andrew, the marriage to Andrew, and then before she actually became Candus Wells. There's multiple arrests, and then her and Don, just like, I guess couples that go to prison together stay together. I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I didn't get that memo. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't either. But then later on, so her and Andrew divorce after she, whatever, and then she meets Don Wells. They have 4 children: Josie, Wyatt, Waylon, and Summer. Thank God they gave these kids some different fucking
Oh
names.
god, I know. I was getting worried there for a
Like,
minute. Like
right?
I said,
Now,
that one guy that named all his kids after him,
right.
they're
So
all been
she
Don
only
Wells.
wanted, here's what's crazy though. Candace only, and like she actually said this in interviews or to people that knew, and they've come out of the woodwork and they've done interviews. Candace only wanted boys. And then when she found out she was having a girl, she actually wanted to give Summer away. But Don wanted a girl, so they ended up keeping her. I'm pretty sure Summer would have been better off if they'd given her away. But
Definitely.
Candace wasn't happy. She was super jealous. I think that she was probably jealous of Summer because apparently, um, I think from what she has hinted at, Dawn obviously treated Summer better than her. And I think that might lead to some of the neglect because, once again, we've seen pictures of Summer. She always looks dirty. She looks
Oh
malnourished.
yeah. I mean,
Her
look at this
dental,
poster. Look at this
her
poster.
Yes, like
Look in the top
her
corner there.
teeth
Yeah.
are just, I mean, it's horrible. Um,
Mhm.
and I really think that that could definitely play a part in why she's missing. But that's like a pure speculation. I can't say if that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I can just say that by the statement of only wanting boys and now you're mad because you have a girl, it just seems a little odd to me.
Maybe. It lend
Um,
to the neglect of her, definitely. And, you know, low intelligence, ignorance, obviously, those are factors here. And um, normal functioning people wouldn't be, oh my God, I'm jealous of my child. But people with,
right.
you know, those types of issues, and they would see it that way. So, and like I said, I always say, you can tell there's something wrong with her. You
Oh
can
God.
tell.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's just the drugs. Like there's something literally wrong, you know.
No. There's
Um,
like some fucking screws. There's more screws loose up there than a
mm,
Chester drawer from IKEA.
oh yeah.
Um, but now there's an interview um that I actually found with that was a friend that of or used to be a friend of Candace and Don Wells. And this one particular woman who I reached out to after I found the interview, I tracked her down and I actually corresponded with her a little bit. And she confirmed everything that she said in her interview on YouTube that I found on YouTube. But she said that their friendship really went south because she actually called CPS on Candace because she said that she was punishing the boys for playing in a swimming pool by telling them that they had to lay on the hot driveway in the middle of summer in Tennessee, like 100 plus fucking degrees. And she was making them lay on the hot concrete
Mm.
as punishment for, I don't know, being fucking kids. Um, and she did. She said, I called DHS on the Wells family because of the abuse and the neglect, and the house was just completely fucking a wreck.
Mm,
Which obviously we've seen that
we've seen
house
that. Hmm.
we've seen that. And it should be noted in all of this that Don, her trash bag husband,
Hmm.
was known for overt punishments as well, due to like extreme punishments to all of the kids.
Right.
She confirmed that. So she was like, when I called CPS, it was very much like these kids are in danger. And CPS knew these fucking people on a first name basis. Um, like they were well known in the system. So now remember, she has custody of none of the kids that she gave birth to. This bitch gave birth to 6 fucking kids. All right.
Yes.
Custody of none. So
Mm.
Candace, like Dawn, has quite the criminal history. She does. I know we're all shocked, right? We're all fucking shocked here. She has charges in Wisconsin, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Now, due to some, deep dives down the rabbit hole and, public records request, we know that in Burnett County, Wisconsin, she has 6 charges. And I'm just going to list them. Okay. So on
I
August
think I
27th,
have that there. Let me put that on the
you
screen.
do. You do.
Yep. There we go. So
Now,
August 27th.
so August 27th, 2002, she's
Hmm.
arrested and convicted of child abuse, intentionally causing harm, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On December 28th, 2002, she's arrested and found guilty of disorderly conduct and reckless endangering of a minor's safety in the first degree. On February 21st, 2003, another arrest for disorderly conduct and probation violation. August 12th, 2003, disorderly conduct and probation violation again, along with 2 counts of intentionally pointing a firearm at a person, resisting or obstructing an officer. September 15th, 2003, arrested on probation warrant issued for no contact violation. February 12th, 2004, arrested on probation warrant issued for absconding. March 25th, 2004, she's found guilty of yet another violation of probation, and her probation was actually revoked again. And she refused to do as ordered and get a psych eval, which I don't really think it's too hard to conclude she has some fucking
Well,
issues.
yeah, no, not at all. And then I think I have something that shows
Mm-hmm.
psych treatment. Defendant must follow any and all treatments prescribed by a counselor.
She
So
did not, by the way.
yeah,
And she is so she's actually banned from all Walmarts in the entire world.
I want to know what the hell you did that was that bad. I mean, think about
This
it.
bitch
The
is
people we
banned
see
from
in
every Walmart
Walmart, like,
in the entire fucking world.
wouldn't you
Oh,
try to
let's
burn
see.
it down? I mean, what happened?
Because, well, let's see. She was arrested in Rogers, Arkansas at Walmart on December the 8th, 2005 for fraudulently returning computer software. Her and another fella, gentleman. He's probably an upstanding scholar of society.
No,
Um,
not at all. That guy.
they were like fraudulently exchanging stuff at Walmart for cash. And then Candace and Don were both arrested together on November 9th, 2006 for possession of narcotics and paraphernalia. March 7th, 2007, public intoxication. May 14th, 2007, another drug arrest in Arkansas for both of them. And the same year that Summer goes missing in March of 2021, she has another run in Walmart and is permanently banned from all the stores because she decided to go in to get a phone with their tax money and threatens the clerk for not setting up her phone for her because she didn't know what the fuck she was doing with that confangled equipment, apparently.
Oh
It's
wow.
too smart for her.
Mm.
Um, and she threatens to come back and burn the whole fucking store down and
Oh, well,
blow the
that'll do
place
it.
up.
Yeah, I was
And
wondering.
yeah, so like the woman that was with her was like, dude, she acts like a fucking lunatic.
Mm-mm.
Yes. Over the fact
Wow.
that the employee was like, ma'am, our policy says that we can't do that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but this woman was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and da 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 da. Apparently, it was like a whole thing. So, um, yeah, she's banned from Walmart now.
I
She
can't
seems like the
even.
type that's cool as a cucumber. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. Like,
Right.
she seems like she's got a level head on her shoulder.
For
I
sure.
mean,
Mm.
mm. And let's not forget that this family, this on Candace's side, they are not exactly strangers to missing family members.
No, not at all. Um,
Mm. We knew we were
yeah.
going to talk about it.
Yes.
Um, there's a whole situation in itself. Candace Bly Wells has a missing sister, Rose Marie Bly, who's been missing
Mm.
for over 10 years now. Now, top of those rabbit holes, let me tell you, I have no words for this. So I did some digging and I contacted people that I'd found that had like made statements or given interviews that had talked about things on Rose Marie's Facebook, right? And some that knew the family very well and was like, well, there's some fucked up shit that goes on. But
Mm.
now let's preface this by saying that there's always got to be something with these people. You know it.
Mm.
So Rosemary Bly missing for a little over 10 years. Candace has never been like, I want my sister to come home. I miss her so much.
So I'm
Grandis is
gonna I'm gonna
like,
throw a picture up of her real quick.
mhm.
We have some comments here. He's I think I think he likes black tea too, maybe. Okay, so then we have Kayla. How long has the baby girl
Kayla,
been
she
missing?
has been missing since June 15th, 2021.
Mhm.
Still an active Amber Alert out for her.
So
Um,
Rosemary Bly, I've got her missing person photo,
mhm.
and this was what
So
out in Wisconsin, St. Croix Falls
yes,
out there.
so that's a whole, we're actually going to do a whole story on her because she deserves her own episode. It's a very
Right.
weird situation. Um, but wouldn't you know that this shit's going to come with a scandal?
Mhm.
Multiple people have confirmed that there's like this nasty, or they've confirmed the nasty rumor that was going around that Candace was actually sleeping with Rose's husband behind her back before she went missing. Now, here's where it gets funny to me is, I wasn't there, neither was anyone else, but rumors always kind of start from a grain of truth. You know that.
Mhm.
I know that. Um, And there are people that have literally been like, no, I know this for a fact. Like, I didn't dream this up. I know this for a fucking fact. Oh, Caleb, baby, if you go back and watch previous episodes where we talk about Summer's case and then we talk about the dad in the next one, you'll be
Yeah, you
fucking
can find
shook.
all of them over on YouTube. They're all in order for you to find. So, yeah.
Yeah. Poor baby. I completely agree. This little girl, this whole case has just pissed us off on
Mm.
so many levels. I
I
mean,
mean,
just absolutely pissed me off.
we kind of behave ourselves here when we're on the show, but listen, you guys, on the phone, it gets ugly.
There are
Yeah,
so many moments that we've had to be like, I gotta walk away. I gotta walk
right. Take
away.
another
I'm gonna
drink,
go.
calm down, breathe. I mean, I think it just gets heated for us because we are mothers and we know what we would do for our children, how far we would go, even if that meant that you have to remove yourself from a man's life that you might have loved. If it's just not a good
Yeah,
fit, it's not a good fit. Get out, that
exactly. And she didn't. She's never
mm,
protected
I know
any
she ran head
of her
first into those
children.
situations.
I mean, this
So
woman has never protected any of her kids, and
so
I
the
just don't understand as a mother how you do that.
oh, we've got
And
some more comments.
oh, you're good. You're good. Um,
One more.
but they said that the whole we have said that so many times.
Mm,
Oh,
so
we had
to give more context, as people do revisit these shows, Rosemary belongs to Grandis,
Grandis.
who lives on the property with
We're gonna have their whole fucking family tree memorized by the time
right,
this
right.
gets.
So real quick, remember first episode, they say they're planting flowers and we couldn't figure out because it looks like a dumpster fire of a property. We're like, we're planting
What
flowers,
fucking succulents are they planting
but
on
we
this
found them.
property?
We found them for you all.
You
This
actually put
is
in
a
that work.
little,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed
yeah,
because I had not found that.
yeah. This is where they were planting flowers the day Summer went missing.
Yeah,
So there
her
is,
one
in
piece of
fact, a
candy.
small little area, and right over here on the what is it? That's I guess it would be my right hand side. You could tell that's a mobile home, like a trailer, camper trailer
A
kind of thing.
camper. I mean, I like the. It's probably part two of the dungeon over there, but I mean, whatever. We'll call it a
Yeah,
camper.
right. Yeah, probably, but so,
And
but what I found interesting in these plants, it looks like there's rocks on top, so maybe there's soil underneath because they had
yeah,
soil under their fingers, and so that's very curious, like that whole. But of course,
I don't
TBI, FBI, they're not going to release every piece of information. They're building
exactly.
a case,
It
so
once again, we've said this in every show. TBI is not fucking stupid.
and
They
they're
are
on it too.
not dumb, and
Nope.
they know. They have come out and said more than once that these people are prime suspects. Don Wells,
Mhm.
especially, is the prime suspect, and I'm telling you now, they know way more than we will ever know. And we're only
Absolutely.
privy to what we can dig up on our own or what we can request, like records
Mhm.
wise, and they're waiting for these fuckers to slip up. It's
Right.
gonna happen, or they're waiting until they have that
Mm.
one tiny little shred, and it's a done deal.
Back to Candace overall, just gotta show her again. Um,
Yes.
we
She and now that you're
mm,
showing her, I have to say that we're talking about Rosemary missing, right? And then Candace
yeah.
sleeping with her husband.
But what, like
Here's what's so
who?
funny. She says that like the rumors or people I've talked to says that Candace was extremely jealous of Rose and called her the pretty one.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, it would not take a whole lot to be the pretty one compared to
Exactly.
Candace.
Yeah, compared to you.
Like
But
it's
she was a lot more pleasing to look at than
yeah.
Candace. It
Um
could be, who knows. I often wonder, like, if they're, we'll get to the theories closer to the end of the show, but I often wondered if, like, her reactions, like the Dr. Phil, the hysterics is
oh
guilt.
yeah. I
The
believe
recent
so.
and we don't ever lend to their YouTubes that they have because I just wouldn't want to
I
give them a
refuse.
view.
I don't want to give
Right.
them credit. I don't
But
want to give
I
them. They're
will
always fucking panhandling online.
mm,
They're I'm
but
just not going to give them the time of
no, but
day. I won't watch it.
to give definition and to bring in the clip that we have, um, Candace has a YouTube and she goes live frequently. More recently, she was on a live and people were starting to wonder if her mental status, like, is her mental state breaking down now? Because she was like staring into the camera and I want to go home and just kind of
I,
gibberish stuff talking. So we're a lot of people that I spoke to were wondering, is her mental state finally starting to break down?
I think so. I think that, like, honestly, I feel like there's, because we found that one with this like suspicious activity at this hotel, which we're going to get into later,
Right, that's the one
and
we're talking about, yeah.
that was found before her live weird "I want to
Mhm.
go home" thing.
Right, yeah.
Um, but going back and being like, oh, she was sleeping with the husband wouldn't surprise me. And like people that I've spoken with was like she had a lot of jealousy and animosity towards her sister. So now you have a missing sister and you have a missing child and you've had custody of none of your children. Um,
And going with that, we talked before the show about, or maybe I think we said at the beginning of the show, the jealousy, maybe possible jealousy of Summer. And what's interesting about the clip that we're gonna play here, it's a 911 call from an incident in the Wells home. And I don't know. I guess if someone were hurting my child, raping my child, I'd call 911 and request an ambulance because that's all that would be needed and not for me. So,
no, I would be just requesting the coroner at that
right,
point.
you just
I
better
mean,
send somebody, okay? Just send somebody to clean this mess up. But
you look, you
she
yell
is
at my kid too loud. I'm allowed to. You're not.
mhm,
Like,
yeah, but
don't
she's
get it
very,
twisted.
in this 911 call, we'll play it, but I'm gonna explain it because we had to slow it down. The original, you can't
It's
hear,
just
it's all over the
and
place.
I've listened to it so many times. You've listened to it so many times. I'm not going to say what I
Mhm.
speculate was said because I don't want to say, oh, it was this. Like, I'm not trying to give false information. What I'm trying to tell you is,
Right.
though, if you listen closely, listen for yourself. But there is a particular word or sentence in there
Mhm.
that
But we're not
really,
sure, yeah. We think, but we're not sure.
yeah,
I slowed this down with some audio software I have. I thought about putting the words as what we think they are on the screen, but I thought better of that because I don't wanna actually create words that weren't said.
yeah,
So I think we'll let everybody hear it for yourself. But again, turn your audio up, put some headphones in, something, turn down the anything that's on in your background. I did slow it down. The normal audio is too fast. There's too much yelling, too much crazy. You can't hear anything. So this one you can
and
make out some words.
this call comes from the inside of the home.
Oh, we got some back and forth, and
Facts.
we've got how no. We know they did it. Just can't see how people who can't count to 10 have gotten away with it
Chris,
without slipping up.
Chris,
You're preaching to the choir. Huh.
we have said that exact sentence so
Yep.
many times.
Right? Like you can't even count to 10. How are they getting away with this?
They
I
can count to
don't
10, they use their fingers, but if you
yeah,
have to
right.
go past
I
that, they're
don't
taking off their shoes.
yeah, right. I don't think that they're getting away with it. What I think is happening is obviously TBI is building. They're building a case because there may be like what we've seen in the past, like Scott Peterson's case, there may be circumstantial evidence and not
Exactly.
enough to gut punch them to prison, you know. And without a
Exactly.
body, there's limited amounts of resource, like limited amounts of punishment that you could give somebody if you can't produce a body or any
And right now, we
yeah.
don't really know what all TBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's
Mhm,
Department has because they've been super tight lipped.
mhm.
Grant, 110%
Yep,
fucking
messed up,
agree.
messed up.
They're just a dumpster fire,
Alright, so
man.
let's get into this clip. Again, it's an audio clip.
Yes.
If you're
And like I
smart, you'll
said,
put some headphones in or turn down anything around you because, it's hard. It's hard to hear. So, oh, one more comment. The whole thing is messed up. Yep.
it is.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna go to this clip right now, okay?
My leg hurts. You said your leg hurts? I'm not doing bad. Do what? I look bad. Can you don't need an ambulance? No, I don't need a medical assistance. Okay. It's just the stuffed up place. Why are you doing that? Really try to hurt someone. No, no. Can you hear me? What? Ma'am, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. What's going on? Are you there? Yeah, I'm here. I just hurt my daughter. Okay, just hurt your daughter? Yeah, I took my daughter's pillow. Okay. They took her to
hard listen. I think because we know what's going on, and now that Summer's missing, it makes it harder for us to stomach. But overall, it feels like, you know um sounds like it's listening to a spirit box. Yeah, it is. And
It
that's
is really
because
hard to make out. And the
we slowed
original,
it down because of the original audio again was like super fast and screaming and yelling, and you couldn't make out any words. So slowing it down, we do hear in the beginning, even the 911 operator heard it. My leg hurts. Your leg hurts. She says, uh-huh. So there apparently was a domestic issue that night, and people are screaming and fighting. I think that he had hit her or harmed her, Candus, not just Summer. But what we hear also is that she says he hurt my daughter, or alternatively he raped my daughter.
we
We
are
can't
still
tell. Mhm.
now let's say this though, every single person that's dissected that audio that I've watched or listened to
Mhm.
has gone with the second option, and so that's what they
Mhm.
hear as well.
Right.
And once again, like I said, the audio is not good, but that is actually the released 911 call. And I'm just gonna say, like, character wise, this bitch is
Mhm.
about the top of the list of
Right.
worthless and horrible,
Right.
especially after listening to that. And you still stuck around. Your kids are in these
Right.
situations,
Yeah.
and you're just letting this happen to your children.
There's a second part of that. That not that call, but that evening there was another call back. But it's just audio between dispatch and the officer. She's telling the officer something like, "Oh gosh, they're back on the phone again. He's in the basement. He doesn't know she's calling again, something to that effect." So I don't know, that whole evening, and that wasn't long before she went missing, correct? I don't
No,
remember.
that was not long before she went missing at all. That was actually
Mm,
why that call was so interesting, because that was honestly like right before. And the part of
mhm,
that that really gets me is it goes back to the theories that we threw around on the first show that we did about this, talking about did she get into something and you didn't want to take her to the doctor because you were going to find out that daddy was probably doing the same thing
doing
to
something
her
inappropriate,
that
yeah.
he was doing to
Mhm,
his stepsisters and his own
mhm.
daughter. And it's a like this is a third generation diddler. Like I like okay,
No, I get it.
I don't
I'm
even know what, like, you're talking about this
well,
is,
like,
but trying to stay on Candace and not like go back to Dawn, because there's just so much we can talk about with that piece of shit. But like, you
mm,
know, Candace herself, not only Dawn, 40-year criminal history there, but this chick has a violent criminal past as well. Custody of none of her kids. Married to a
This
pedo.
comment. Well, thank you, Grant.
Thank you so much.
That's
Honored.
cute.
Not a stranger to missing family members. She knows what happened to Summer and she knows where that baby is. And I don't care what anyone says. That is 100% fact in my mind. She knows what happened to her. She knows where she is. Whether she did it herself, whether Dawn did it, whether
Agreed.
Summer overdosed and got into the family
Mhm.
stash, whatever the case may be, she knows, and she knows where Summer is. And because Dawn is a prime suspect, Candus is a suspect as well. TBI has
Okay.
already said that. The fact you're stonewalling. Now, remember, so at the time, they did have custody of their kids, right?
Right.
When Summer went missing, they had custody of all of
their kids.
custody of
The 3
Josie, Wyatt,
boys.
Waylon, and Summer. And now they do not have custody of Josie, Wyatt, or Waylon. And CPS was like, we're going to take these because, well, I mean, they took them out of that fucking dungeon they call a house to begin with.
Well, that
And
right there was probably a cause for them to remove the kids. And obviously, one of them is missing under suspicious circumstances. I think they were
Exactly.
just needing to protect the children. But you let me know when you're ready to do the theories, because as we wrap this one up, I have a hard theory. I could be wrong, but I have a hard theory.
I have some theories as well. Now, go into the fact they don't have custody of their children, right? Their daughter's missing. Your 3 kids are in Tennessee. You don't have custody of them. They up and leave Tennessee. Just up and leave. So then they're staying at this like Fleabag Roach Motel in Springdale, Arkansas, because that's where I would have gone. And there's like suspicious activity at this hotel. So while Dawn Wells is at work, supposedly, there are multiple men throughout the day coming and going from the hotel room while Dawn's supposedly working. Now, my guess on that is drugs, because for the love of everything that could be holy in this world, I just don't think that anybody is paying her to turn tricks. I mean,
well, if
there's
anyone is
desperate,
in doubt,
and then there's.
If anyone's in doubt, let me just show her one more time. Just say, wait, got a better one. Got a better one. This one.
Yeah. Now let me say this: if my 5-year-old child is missing, CPS ain't gonna get my kids because I don't raise them in a fucking dungeon. But my CPS takes my children, I'm gonna burn the world down. Okay.
Agreed.
I'm finding my child, and the coroner is gonna need to come and pick up whoever had my kid, number one. And I'm damn sure not gonna leave the state. Like, I'm not gonna run away to another state.
Right.
And I would be calling the sheriff's department every day. Like, I would be on the phone to these people to the point they would see my name pop up and be like, hit the ignore button. She calls us like 40 times a day. Now, it can be noted here that Don Wells is actually on probation still and has broken his probation to go to Arkansas and has been told that he has to return to Tennessee. Now, I don't know how that's going to work out. But he has violated. So the whole family pisses me off, man. And then this hotel they're in, like, how you have a house, you have all this land,
but
you left your house.
I think it's because, if I read correctly, it's considered a crime scene, or not maybe necessarily a crime scene, but it's like they seized it for the moment. They can't be there.
I don't know.
That's what I read somewhere, and I can't. Yeah,
I couldn't confirm that was the case, because they actually searched. I did find an actual like how much of the area they searched. They actually searched over 5,000 acres for Summer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was looking for that forever. And it's a 5,000 acre area that they completely searched for Summer.
Wow.
And look, if you go and watch any of the interviews that these people are in, if you go and if you can sit through listening to them try to sound out simple words that have two syllables in them, good luck, because it's just horrible. But these
Yeah.
clowns look like they are drunk or high 24/7. In every interview that they have done, anything they've spoken out about, they have literally looked like they are in the spirit world all the time.
Mm.
But now, if you go and listen to any of the interviews that Dawn has been on, there are so many where like Candace is in the background. Dude, she is cussing, she's screaming, she's yelling, she's throwing shit, picking bites with Dawn. I mean, she seems pretty stable to me, like mom of the year.
Mm.
I can't imagine why they don't have custody of their other
Oh yeah.
three
No.
children.
Right?
Fucking couldn't even imagine. But like in
Mm-mm.
one, and we're gonna go back because this statement just still kills me. Dawn Wells says, now we can wonder why she's screaming and yelling at him in videos, but in one particular interview, Dawn's like, well, I got 7 alibis and she ain't got none, so she's going down. And he says it sitting on the porch or on the couch with her,
Like
and it turned
I can't
into
even like
just
understand what they're, you know what I mean? Like it's a competition. You're going down, not me. Like, okay.
right. Like,
It almost feels like they already know. Like they know what happened to her. So,
well, they
they're
do.
just
I mean, 110%. And it goes back to like some of the theories that we've come up with or we've talked about. And once again, I would love nothing more. We've focused on the dad, we focused on mommy dearest over here. But to be perfectly honest with you, in all of this, and the main thing is like, I just want justice for this little girl. Like, I just want her to get the justice that she deserves.
agreed.
And, keeping this case in the spotlight and keeping, and there are so many people out there that are still looking into it and they've never forgotten her case. They've never let her go. It's just like, a missing kid on Tuesday and forgotten on Wednesday. I mean, people have really kept her in the
Mm.
spotlight and kept this case really active. And when I started looking into it and I knew that I wanted to talk about it, I really didn't know what kind of rabbit holes we were actually going to go down.
I know.
And honestly, the more that we've done, the more pissed off and the more that I
Yeah.
find like the animosity, like where I actually
Right.
want to drive to Springdale,
Right.
Arkansas and just slap the
Uh,
shit out of
I'll
them.
meet you there. Okay. I like going back to what you just said. I think when we first initially we were like, okay, this is the one we're gonna do. Um, Within that first episode, just researching, we already knew we were gonna have to split it up. There's just so much on each person that,
Because it was like
um,
every day we were finding so much more. And I was like, dude,
and just
at
their
first I wasn't
background.
going to multi part it. I was just, we talked about that. It was like I talked to Elaine, our host, who will be back with us soon. But like at first it was just going to be, we're going to talk about summer. And then when I actually started reading in you and I started like comparing notes, and it was like, it's going to be multi part. There's no way to just do this in
Mhm.
one way. Like it's just not possible. And we sit here, of course, we're going to crack jokes about the intelligence level of these fine, upstanding
Right.
citizens.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we are still talking about a 5-year-old child that is missing, and God knows where she is or what's happened to her. However, we do
Right.
have our theories, and getting into
Yeah.
those, you have yet to tell me. You're like, oh, I'm going to wait and tell you. So, what's your hard theory? I'm dying. I'm so
Oh,
like ready for this.
okay. Just after all the research, after everything I viewed and read, I believe Summer died at the watering hole the day she was put on the milk. I believe she drowned that day, and Candace, being, ignorant and terrified because she's got this long jail record, um, a criminal record. So she takes her home and she calls Dawn. And remember that call, Dawn, you guys can go back into, I think, part two, and we talk about how she, maybe even part one with the timeline, he calls her and then she calls him, and there's just these weird calls, and then he comes home.
Yeah,
And from there, all of a sudden she's just disappeared. As far as the plants and whatnot, they claim they were gardening. I kind of have this feeling Summer never took part in that. I don't think she made it home that day to
And
do
see,
that.
I've thought that because, and I'll tell you why that theory has stuck with me so long, is in the talking when Candace is giving her statement about um what they did that day. And
Mhm.
she talks about, now mind you, the boys were left at home and
Mhm.
she only took Summer with her. But she talks about how, they left the house at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, but didn't get home until like after 4 or, after 3 or whatever.
Mhm.
And she says all these things, but there's no mention of food. There's no mention of any of that. But they went to Sonic and got these slushies, and she was so
Yeah.
adamant about the
Not
slushy
only
thing. But
that,
like,
like,
you didn't feed her, and then this one piece of candy. Like,
mhm.
I've one of
Well,
my
those
theories.
details bothered me with the timeline because the last damn thing I'm going to be thinking about when my kid is missing is the piece of candy I gave her, at 2 o'clock or whatever. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any difference. It wouldn't change anything. So I wouldn't even necessarily think about that. But
No,
I don't know all the dynamics there. I do have multiple children myself. I can't imagine leaving, some home versus the other ones to go have fun. I don't understand that. But the
I've
watering hole thing, I believe, because if you watch what's his name, Hunter, his
that
interview,
was
he
yes.
talked heavily about Candace giving him alcohol,
Uh-huh.
and his mother and grandmother have said he is just
He's like
not the same.
traumatized. They
Right,
said that
very
when he got home
traumatized.
that day, like he was just a completely different
Mhm.
person. And I've watched
So
that interview so many times, like kind of
mhm,
replaying.
mhm,
And the fact that they use the word traumatized over and over,
mhm.
honestly, it's the same thing for me. I'm like, I really, one part of me believes she died at the watering hole. There's other parts of me that believes, you know,
And honestly, the sad
I don't
part is
believe it was
I don't
accidental though.
I don't. I actually do though. I think that it was an accident, and that's the problem. These idiots, damn idiots, could have possibly got her help if she drowned. What is it, like 20 minutes or something that you can go or whatever? I don't know the whole facts. If you're drowning
There,
or something, there's a certain amount of period of time. I mean, obviously, maybe they didn't know CPR, but maybe someone around them would have. I mean, accidents
well, I
happen.
mean, have you seen what they are calling this swimming hole?
Yeah. We had pictures of that, I
I
think.
was going to say, I thought we had the. I
Yeah,
don't even know.
I'll
I
have to
mean, I
find that.
know, like when I was younger, and we were kids, and we would go to the lake, and we'd go to the river,
Oh,
and
yeah.
go to the creek. This looks like a swamp.
What did we call it? Oh gosh, it looked like Shrek's you know.
Yeah, like get out of my swamp, fairy tale creatures. Like it looks like a fucking swamp. It looks like something out of a horror movie. Like
Mhm.
there is no way on God's green earth I would have ever swam there when I was a kid. And the fact that they like, oh, we only swam for 15 minutes, or we were only at the swimming hole for 15 minutes. Who goes to the river or the creek or the lake or whatever in the dead of summer, hot as
Right.
hell, 15 minutes? My problem is though, in the picture of her laying on the milk, she's not in a swimsuit and she's not wet.
Right. Yeah, that's
She's
kind of
not she's not
maybe it
in a
was
swimsuit and
before, I
she's
don't
not
know.
wet. And she's, and they're like, oh, well, she was in her swimsuit, but she wasn't in her swimsuit. And then the whole
So
Don saying he was gonna come home, but then he changed his mind. There's so many stories that they've told that I
mm,
can't. That's why it's like really hard for me to have a solid theory
mm,
because of the amount of stories and the way that their
there's
stories have
the swimming
changed.
hole. There's where they swim. um
But like now, and it's even if you look at there was another picture that we
yeah, I'm trying
had.
to find that. I
It
can't
was like
find that.
this. It looks like
It's a
when it
swampy, nasty,
the
yeah.
pull, like when it's pulled back or whatever, and it's
Mm,
like this is where you were letting
right.
your child swim.
Mm. Yeah, no, I can't find it now, but
Let me see if I can find it.
I'm sure people can find it out there. But I think maybe I had texted it to you. That's why we don't have it on the screen. But
I know I might have been. I just know that
yeah.
like when we were looking and it was just like
Mhm.
something doesn't add up for me, and I've always said that. Um,
Agreed. I don't know.
because
That's just my theory, though. And nothing else seems to fit. You have a 15-year-old that's traumatized that won't speak on the matter, which, if he did speak about that day, so many doors would be unlocked about what actually transpired. But he won't speak on that. He's given his timeline, but that's it. Like, he's
and
not
that's
really
yeah, he's
elaborating.
not
So,
given an interview. He's not said. I mean, he's
mhm.
been like
I mean, if he had said, if
completely.
he came to the media and said, I went swimming with Summer and her mom, and they went home, and Summer was alive and perfectly okay. Then we could move on from the watering hole. But no one knows. Then we could look at, okay, maybe she was planting flowers, but no one knows if
The
she even made it
planting
home that day.
flowers thing for me doesn't work.
Mm-mm. I don't think she
And
ever did that. These
I
stories.
don't think that the planting flowers thing actually like
Mm-mm.
happened. And I have a list of reasons why. And that's those like, but we've come up with so many theories based on, you know, this whole story. Like, okay, so if they tell one story, then the theory goes to this. But then we hear another story, and then the theory goes to something else. And then they tell another story, and then, well, it's something else.
Mhm.
So, like, our theories have been, you know, pushed everywhere, along with everybody that I've watched. I have spent hours watching um, other people that have, you know, done like talked about Summer's case. And it's so impossible to get a solid theory. Like with any case that you talk about that's unsolved or has gone cold or whatever, normally we can find a working theory that goes along with every single theory out there and they all kind of go together. This case is the reason this case has been so, I guess, just annoying and frustrating is because
Mhm.
their stories change so much.
Yep, they do.
And when the stories keep changing here, like I just can't I can't say, okay, well, this one makes sense because
Right.
it doesn't. And then when you go to like this other theory and we get to this and it's like, well, this doesn't make sense either. And then their story goes to something else and it's like, well, this theory actually makes sense. Um, what is the working theory that actually makes the most sense?
None of them
Um,
really, because like, I told mine and you punched holes through it. You tell yours and, I punch
get
holes
bunch
in it.
holes in mine.
So,
And
we just
you know,
never know. Yeah, we never know,
well, and the fact that neither one of them can tell a
mm,
definitive, like this is exactly where what, because it was first I walked her home and the door downstairs was locked in the playroom. Let's talk about we've already shown that fucking playroom.
oh,
And
yeah.
the fact that because of their history, okay, if these people were not common criminals or professional crooks, okay, and they were just a good, wholesome family, they've never had any problems, there's never been any issues,
Mm,
and all of a sudden their kid goes missing, the chance or the chances of people looking at them as hard and as strongly as these people are being looked at
mhm.
would be totally different. But
So,
in this case,
we
you
grabbed
just
a photo
can't.
of we grabbed a photo of, Shrek's swimming pool. I mean, the watering hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shrek's there's the swamp. So this is the
Yeah.
swimming hole that she was supposedly in. Now, I'm not sure, but that looks
It looks dangerous. I don't know that I would let my 5-year-old in there. But again, like I've always said, is you're dealing with people with lower intelligence, and not a lot of common sense, if you will.
Well, that's a fact.
So yeah, I don't think that they don't think anything of the giant branches sticking out of the water, or possibly whatever else could be in there. You know, and I think,
Well, and
they
what
tell
about the
you a
fact
lot of
that
times.
grandma? What
Uh-huh.
about the fact that grandma has been radio silent and left the state?
Hmm. You know,
It seems
they're
odd to
all gonna
me.
just not speak, until somebody finds some solid evidence to tie this back. We may never know.
And honestly, I don't know if whatever TBI is holding back or whatever. I'm not sure that we're ever going to actually have a really
I
what
think we will
happened. I
eventually.
think we're
I
going
think
to
we will
get.
eventually. I think that, like you always say, TBI is just waiting for somebody to slip up.
Oh, absolutely. I will 100% say that I believe TBI is like watching these people like a hawk for a reason.
Hmm.
And,
And that may be
mom
very
walking
well why
out.
they left the state. Why they're somewhere else, because they don't want to be watched.
Well, and you know what? It goes back to another show that we did on Myra Lewis. Parents skip fucking town
Hmm.
while their 2-year-old is missing, and you up and leave.
Hmm.
And you don't call, you don't
Hmm.
leave a forwarding, you don't leave anything. So it goes back to that. Like,
Right.
if your child's missing, you don't just up and disappear and go,
I feel like I
yeah, I
would
don't.
stay in the same place forever, just in case they got lost and they found their way back. I don't know. Um,
And even
I don't
going
know.
and like looking into this whole, the Bly family in general, or the Herrera family, what the fuck ever these people's names are. Um, when
Mhm.
Grandma Grandis talks about Rosemarie, she's like, Rosie, I have the same phone number. 10 years later, I have the same
Mhm.
number. At least she acts like she gives a fuck that her kid's missing, but she hasn't spoken
Mhm.
out about her missing granddaughter. Well, if
I'm
if
sure
you
she
know what
has her
happened to her,
suspicion. I'm sure she has her suspicions, but I don't think she was part
well,
of
Grandma
what
and her
happened.
bum knee was at the swimming hole.
Maybe she does then. I don't know. I like I said, every theory we come up, we both can punch holes through it. So, and that may be very well what TPI is dealing with too. Is there's just not enough information. Like I
Exactly,
said,
and the constant story
If
changing.
Hunter would speak and say yes, she was 100% alive, there was no issues at the watering hole, we'd have
But
something
Hunter
to
did
go
say,
more on.
now Candace said this didn't happen, but Hunter says in an interview that that Summer slipped and fell and was underwater, and he
Right,
jumped in to pull her. Okay, let's go on the theory that she didn't actually drown at the swimming hole, and the reason he's traumatized is because she almost drowned. All
right,
right,
and very
now
possible.
let's go with dry drowning.
Hmm.
It's a theory.
Right,
Uh, but that theory would mean that her body would be somewhere.
right.
There would be
Well,
like,
probably
but there's,
buried, but
none of this makes sense to me.
no.
The theories that we've come up with, like you said, we punch holes in every one of them. And just like every other armchair detective that's come across this case and done it, comes up with
Mhm.
theories and then they punch holes in them. And then it's another theory and
Right.
it's more holes. And honestly, at this point, like you and I have said, all we want is just
Some
justice for this
closure.
baby.
Yeah, justice,
Just closure
closure
for
for
this
her,
child.
yeah.
I don't care about the family getting closure. I could give two shits less about these people. But I care about the fact that this little girl, once again, is like every other child that goes missing. It becomes it becomes the nation's child. It becomes the
Right.
nation's baby.
Everybody's
And
baby.
every
Yeah.
parent out there feels a pain for these kids, just like, going all the way back to Kaylee Anthony, Jean-Monet
Oh gosh.
Ramsey,
Yeah.
Myra Lewis, Summer Wells, the list goes on and on. And there are kids at the end of the day, they're all our children because we're moms and our maternal instinct is to protect a child in general. So when this situation like this, and we just want answers for the fact this is a nation's baby now. And
Mhm.
the media that goes along with it, we all know that it's some foul play involved. So
I'm gonna put this up here real quick. So as we leave the show at one
mhm.
point tonight,
Once again,
remember,
this
yeah.
is once again, she's still a missing case, and she would be 7 years old now. Summer Moon Utah Wells. If you know anything, if you think you know anything, if somebody that you know knows something, if your cousin's uncle's goldfish's brother knows something, please by all means contact the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department or TBI. Their number is listed here on her missing poster. The Sheriff's Department is 423-272-7121, or you can contact 1-800-TBI-FIND. There is a $50,000 reward still out there for information that leads to where Summer is or what happened to Summer. And I would like to say to everyone out there that's put in all the hours and the time and they're just as interested, whatever happens, this case will never go cold. It won't.
Agreed.
There's too many of us out there that are determined to get answers.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's all over the place. So definitely.
So once again, if you want to, you can go back on our YouTube and you can watch part 1, part 2, and this is part 3 of Summerwell's case. It has been real. It has been fun. It has been enlightening. And next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be right back here at Cocktails and Crimes to bring you another case. Cheers. Pick your poison.
Yep.
We'll be back with another cocktail for you and another crime. And I promise you, next week, you don't want to miss it. And as we gear up, we have another multi-part that'll be coming up here in a little while. And I promise you, stick around. We're going to drop little hints here and there throughout the next few shows on the big case that we're going to be looking into. And I have a ton of receipts to bring. So thank you, everyone, for being here. It was wonderful. Thank you, Anne. Go check her out at Unexplained Realms and Lost Common Sense. And
thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night.